And a good Thursday evening, everybody. I told you we would be on. I told you we were coming on. We were expected to be on about an hour earlier than this tonight. I've had to put on my weather hat. We're going to start a weather network. We've got Severe Weather Awareness Week coming up at the end of this month, and we're trying to get James Spann, the famous weatherman from Alabama, and my dear friend Anthony Cavalucci. I still got an interview I've never played, and I probably need to, and it was about Helene. We recorded it back before the first of the year, and with everything going on with the news, we just haven't been able to play it. It's probably outdated by now. But we've had a tumultuous night here in East Tennessee, and it was only, I look at it just by the mere hand of God that we actually missed we had a thunderstorm or two here where I live, but we've had tornadoes in the greater Knoxville area tonight. We've had wind damage. We've had homes damaged in Morgan County, which is just northwest of Knoxville. I've got a former family member that lives probably 10 minutes from where those tornadoes hit. I was in touch with him tonight, and he was watching the lightning to his north, and probably about an hour ago, I'm going to try to see if I've got that picture. I hope I downloaded it. I hope I got it. But there's been some extremely large hail as well, and just as sure as I am sitting here, I did not get it. But anyway, I do want to just run over a few things, how wild this storm was. I'm going to show you a picture here. We had a basketball game going on tonight in Morgan County. I live east of Knoxville in Jefferson County, and I'm sort of slow to give that information out. We've had a few adventures in the lifetime of the show here, giving my location out, and I take a risk doing that even tonight, but I think we're good. But anyway, I do want to show you the hook. These are the hail cords, but this was the, hang on just a second, let me, if I can get these bigger, I can see what I'm doing here. This was the storm at its height tonight on radar, and that little red area, that is downtown Knoxville, Tennessee tonight. There were winds close to 100 miles an hour at the peak of this storm. Likely a tornado in the upper levels. There has been 2 confirmed tornadoes, one northeast of me, northeast of Morristown tonight, and then one was northwest of Knoxville, probably about 20 miles, and severe damage has been reported. Trees are down. It was a church in Fountain City near my son, and he's okay tonight, but they were having a Bible study, and while they were having the Bible study, a tree came through the window and basically destroyed the church. Not the church, but it came through the window, destroyed the window of the church. The church suffered damage. Of course, no injuries tonight that we've heard of, thank God, nothing like that. But the powerful thing about this storm started out this afternoon, probably toward sunset, maybe. Let's see, it's 11 o'clock in the east tonight. Probably around 5 o'clock in the central time zone up in southwest Kentucky. And it began to explode, and everything was going east. And then this storm began to come southeast into the greater Nashville area, just northeast of there. The thing exploded. Tornado warnings were being issued for it. And the weather people here was showing it on radar tonight. I was trying to monitor things for my own safety and house, and I didn't really get to take a lot of video like I wanted to, but we did get some images that I'm going to show you here in a minute. I got one video I want to show you of wild weather that was in downtown Knoxville tonight, but the storm stayed. The atmospheric conditions were such that the upper levels of the atmosphere, the wind shear and the heat, the humidity, the dew points, all the things that go into a thunderstorm, all the things that make tornado weather, was the dynamics of the atmosphere was such here in early February today. We've had highs in the 70s this week after being in the teens and highs in the teens just 2 weeks ago. So everybody's gotten sick. And we were near zero in the lows at night here right after the first of the year into mid-January. And so our temperature soared into the 70s this week. So the heat was there. Everything came together tonight. Well, this storm started marching east, and then all of a sudden, we call it in weather a right turner. For those of you storm chasers out there, some of you tornado enthusiasts, you know what that means. A sidewinder, right turn. It takes a right turn. Some of these storms have got so much energy in the upper levels that the winds aloft drive that storm to the right or usually to the south, and that's exactly what happened with this storm, and it's what saved me here tonight, to be frank with you, because that storm was on a beeline for my house, in my area of the country, of the state tonight, and but it traveled. Nashville is roughly 250 miles. That storm formed probably another 100 miles. 350 miles that storm traveled without weakening, and it strengthened, to be frank with you, when it got over the mountains. It crossed two mountain ranges. It crossed what we call the Cumberland Plateau here in central Tennessee. And usually mountains, when a thunderstorm complex like this, when it was a single storm, and those are the most dangerous in the spring. We call them supercells. And this thing had all this energy feeding into it from the winds aloft. There's a cold front coming through. We've had all this heat. The winds at the surface, the winds aloft started turning. And this thing was just a monster. It was a train. It was moving at 60 miles an hour. Think about that. That's how fast the storm was moving. So the winds automatically in a storm like that are going to be hurricane force when you've got a storm moving that fast. And this thing stayed intact for nearly, again, at least 4 hours, 5 hours. That's unreal for a thunderstorm, because usually the geography and the geographical mountains and height, valleys, we live in what we call the Tennessee Valley here, and we're in a valley. I'm sort of on the east side. I'm higher up than I used to be. I used to live in West Knoxville, and we had usually the valley tends to be spared these things because we have two mountain ranges on each side of us. We have the Cumberland Plateau to our west, and we have the Great Smoky Mountain Range where I live, sort of at the base of here, the Appalachians. But this mountain complex did not affect this storm tonight. This was a freak February tornadic thunderstorm that rolled through Knoxville, Tennessee tonight. And what you're seeing there is the wind velocities. And that dark red shaded area there was right around downtown Knoxville. And this was at the peak of it. This thing at that moment on the trajectory that it was going was coming straight for Jefferson County, where I'm at tonight. And so forth. But a couple of things I want to show you. I'm trying to get that video. This is my dear buddy Todd Howell. You can see the tower cam. I've got this downloaded, and it's not a video, but that's my dear buddy. He's a good friend of mine. He's a weatherman here. You can see the ominous cloud there. That was a night shot that they had. This was around 9:10 tonight when we were supposed to be on. And it was tornado warnings out and severe thunderstorm warnings. And I know a lot of this don't mean a lot to you. To a weather person, it means a lot. Here's the hook echo. And if you don't believe that this is scary to look at, I was looking at this. Kodak is just west of me. And I want to get my whiteboard out tonight. My Bible students know what that is. They say, oh, Chris is about to draw. And that is exactly right. That hook right there that you see right there, that is a tornado. And that was producing widespread damage in the greater eastern Knox County, western Jefferson County region. Sevierville is right here. This thing was on a projector to go this way, and had it stayed on that path, Chris would have been in the basement tonight. We'd have been doing a McFiles basement, not a basement, a McFiles closet video. And I don't even want to get started on the jokes on that one. McDonald would have been in the closet. Coming to you tonight. We're coming to you from the closet with the phone up. But that's not good to see at any time of the year. But this was look how big this storm was. This is how big this complex was. And this was the same storm that had formed 4 hours ago and had stayed intact all the way across our state. And it's still ongoing right now. It's in western North Carolina tonight, and there's still tornado warnings out, severe thunderstorm warnings out for this cell that has produced massive hail. The hail in Newport, which is just east of me, I didn't get any here, but the track and the path of this storm, golf ball to ping pong to half-quarter size hail fell, and there's one of those hailstones that fell that had spikes in it. And when you see hail like that, that is extreme turbulence in the atmosphere, because that is where the winds aloft are literally shaking and forming those hailstones and these thunderstorms that fall down to the ground. The upper level winds, and they're freezing up in the upper levels. They're falling to the earth as ice. And you get this kind of stuff, and it's very common to see that kind of hail around tornadic storms like this. And we've had several damage reports tonight. There was a basketball game going on in Morgan County. They had to evacuate that gym when this happened. It was pretty scary stuff. The church got damaged. There's been homes, big homes, damaged in Morgan County west of here. We're still getting reports in from the city of Knoxville. The miracle to me, and look, I'm grateful for the prayers. I had some of you folks texting me and telling me, checking on me, and I appreciate all the text and the emails tonight and the concern. Thank you all for checking on us here in East Tennessee. But I was probably less than 5 miles from that storm. It veered. It kept the same track. It was going east, and then it just shifted. It shifted south, and it went right through here. And instead of going up here, let me change that color. Let me change my color so you can see this a little better. There we go. This right here, if it would have continued going there, I would have taken a direct hit. It veered off just a little bit. It went in between Sevierville and Kodak. There's one of the biggest Buc-ee's in the country. Sits right there. And the storm went between Buc-ee's and Sevierville. All the Buc-ee fans out there saying, thank God the East Tennessee Buc-ee's didn't get destroyed tonight. We were rejoicing about that. But that is a tornado, folks. When you see a hook like that and what that is representing, and this is just weather stuff, I know some of you may not understand it, that's the inflow winds coming in here. You've got upper level winds up here going one direction. You've got this twisting, and it always forms right here. You can see the lightning out ahead of this. Hail. This was where some of the massive hail was here. And I want to show you a video. This was taken probably at the height of this in downtown Knoxville tonight. It's pretty intriguing stuff. I have to say, Todd, I think they got this outside their studio. And let me see, is this it? That's the image of it right there, but I've got the video of it. Hang on just a second. That's here it is right here. I've got a video. Bear with me here. I'm trying to find the video of it. Let's see here. Did I just download it directly? Where is that video? Where is that video? Well, I tell you what, I just had that video. We'll just do it this way. We'll do it the old-fashioned way. Let me get to the video. It is right there. Let me download it, and we'll show it to you right here. This is outside the studios of WBIR in Knoxville tonight at the height of this storm. BIR is west of that right there, but this was right before. Look at this. Let me hang on just a second. Let me fix this so you can see it. Look at that. That is live video there. Pardon the house. I'm sorry. You're getting a peek of the Mac house. That is that's hail and rain going sideways right at the height of this, and that was some video taken right outside the studio there at WBIR. But we're going to probably get images tonight, and as the morning gets, when we see the morning, we're going to see damage here. I have been in East Tennessee for nearly 25 years now, and we've had events like this, but we had a freak tornado in August of 23. It was a late summer storm. We do not get tornadoes in the summer here. We get thunderstorms. We get lightning. And I had just moved in to this beautiful place that the Lord has blessed me with. And we had a storm form in Knoxville, and they had an EF2 tornado. Now, I'm not sure what they're going to rate this one tonight. It's probably going to be a low-end storm, but it's still, there's a lot of wind flow in there, and there was a lot of turbulence in this, and this thing was spinning. And again, it was like a train going this way. And there was another storm that was northeast of us, it's separate from this, that formed, that almost went to Morristown. That's just 10 minutes up the road from me to my northeast. So I was sort of in between. So the storm to the north went northeast of me. This one veered to the south, and the Lord protected me here, and I'm grateful for that tonight. But it like to have been a wild Thursday night here in the hills, and it is. And we hope that, again, as far as we hear right now, there's been no injuries or casualties to these storms, but there have been damage done to homes. There's my dear buddy Todd Howell. And when you see this red, right here, that is, did I just delete the whiteboard? I deleted my whiteboard. Why do I do that? It's one of my favorite things. My Bible students will tell you that in the morning. That was the core of high winds that was coming through Knoxville at the time of this storm, and there were two confirmed touchdowns. One was Morgan County, and then there was the storm in Morristown tonight, northeast of there. It hit a school just northeast of Morristown, a little town called Trent Hill, and that we're trying to get some details on that school, but thankfully this was at night. No kids were there. But we've had a rough night here in East Tennessee, and to put it in perspective, this is early February. I cannot remember this early in the year having these kind of storms. And the storm 2 years ago, a year and a half ago now, it was early August. It wasn't even a week that I had been here. And this freak storm hit Knoxville, and the greatest damage of that storm was in Dandridge, in this area here, and Knox County. And it was actually in West Knox, where I used to live. It was almost like it was eerie. The place I left and the place I moved to had the worst damage of that tornado. It's prophetic, I guess, what was coming. This is whenever you see this on a radar, it's not good. It's not good, because these are winds going to the radar. These are winds going away from the radar. And you see that circulation right there. That is an up-close picture of what it looks like. And all my family is safe. My son is safe. And we're grateful for, again, your prayers and thoughts tonight. But it's been a rough night here. The earth is a-shaking. The earth is a-shaking. And we're just getting into the springtime storm season, and it's one of the reasons that I really want to start a weather channel. We're going to do that probably in March when the season begins. We're going to probably try to work on it. We're going to try to get it done in the next week, because Severe Weather Awareness Week is the end of February, and we're going to have some guests on here that will come on. And we may not be on the weather every night. It would be something like if we have these weird weather events, we will be on there live covering it. We're trying to get some weather maps and some ideas on how to do it. But it's suffice it to say, we're about to. It's that time of the year, and this is a little early for us here in the hills, but just grateful that there was no more damage than that. But it did get a little dicey here tonight. But we're okay. Everything is fine. And again, I want to thank everybody. It was really, it means a lot to me when people check on us. When these things happen, and I'm grateful. Here is one more picture I want to show you. I was speaking of the hail. This is, and I wish I had took a picture of those hailstones they had on there. That's what we call a hail core on a radar. And the fuchsia color, the deeper the red, the deeper the color, the larger the hail. And at one point, this was probably golf ball size hail. And let's see, did I do it again? Did I deleted my? Yep, I deleted my widget again. Let me try this again. Let me do this. This is a hail core that was, again, just west of me. This is how close this was. This is probably not even 15 miles west of me at this point. And this was probably around 9:30, 9:45 into 10. Again, that was headed straight for me. And then it shifted. It just, the storm was so intense, and the winds aloft that were carrying it was so intense, it shifted it just to the south and pushed it south of me 5 miles. And that's a blessing. That would have done some damage. And I would have been doing the, as I said, the McFiles Thursday night, late night special from a basement or a bunker in my closet in here. So, pretty wild stuff, huh? Pretty wild stuff. I've got to play it tonight.
Elementary, my dear Watson.
It's elementary, my dear Watson. It's elementary, my dear Watson. Now, if you are in the East Tennessee area, if you're in the greater East Tennessee area, and you have Barbara Hughes says, we're in Sevierville, and the sirens went off 5 times. Scary, but God is good. Good to hear from you, Barbara. You're my neighbor, and it's good to see you. Thank you for letting me know just what I was about to say. If you're in the East Tennessee area and you've got any pictures of what happened, any hail, send them to us at McFiles Forum. We'd like to show them tomorrow night. We're going to see what we can come up with. We'll have an update tomorrow night. Yes, Sevierville didn't take the brunt of it, Barbara. It just north of there. And Patty, I know Kentucky had them too. They had tornadoes in Kentucky this morning, actually. There was 2 waves of this. There was Corbin and London, just north of us, probably an hour and a half. They were having tornado warnings this morning. The atmosphere recharged, and tonight they told us all day that the valley was going to get whacked. The weird thing about this is that this storm was like this one big monster. It was just like this one big storm. There was hardly any other storms around it for so long, and for nearly 350 miles. This thing traveled the whole state from, as I said, it was probably west of Clarksville, Tennessee, which is in the northwest section of what's the county of Nashville, Davidson County. And they tracked this thing all afternoon, and the weather people here took notice of it. They said probably around 6, 7 o'clock tonight, because this thing was not weakening. They thought when it would go over the mountains that the interchange of the height and the mountains would tear it apart. It didn't do that. So we had a very intriguing night here in the hills. But Barbara, glad you're okay, and your family and so forth. Great to meet you. Good to have you on the show tonight. If you got any other pictures, anybody out there from East Tennessee that's listening to us tonight, McFilesForum@gmail. Send them to us, and we'll share your pictures tomorrow night on the network. We don't have time to do it tonight. We got some other stuff we want to talk about. But just wanted to give you that update. And as of right now, everything is gone. It's pretty much to the south and east of us. No more warnings right now. And we are actually looking at cooler weather for the next day or two. But then we've got another heavy rain event coming in here next week. And this, I know probably you folks in the Northeast are shaking your head and say, McDonald, we're iced in up here. We don't care about your tornadoes down there. We got an ice box up here because this has been a weird storm. There has been an ice and snow event in the Northeast again tonight, and the Midwest. My dear friends in Ohio James Akers was on the show Tuesday night, and he was sending me pictures of his house, and it was totally iced over. And but just weird times. And, I told my sister Mac, we were talking a little bit before the show, and I said, Chris, I said, the earth is a-shaking. And she said, it is shaking violently right now. And it is. It really is. And these are the things that happen when the earth shakes. All right, that's your weather update for tonight. And thought we'd give you an update of that. And Carol, thank you. Anyway, well, Jay, the flash flood warning is, where I'm at, there are flash flood warnings south of here. Most of where I'm at is anything north. The further north you are of I-40, you're good. And as I said, it was only the hand of God that I don't have a damaged house, and because this thing was a train, and I was holding my breath tonight. And that's one reason I waited to come on the show, because I wasn't sure I wasn't going to have to get in a closet, because this thing was real. And that hook, when I saw that hook around 9:30, I was like, we're going to be doing the McFiles from the closet tonight. We're going to be doing tornadoes. My son and I, I have to tell you a funny story. Me and Brandon, we used to watch Twister. When he was growing up, our favorite movie was Twister. And I watched the new one last year, Twisters. And actually, the Twisters sequel was not too bad for a sequel. Usually sequels don't do the first one justice. This one wasn't too bad. But there's a scene in the movie where the late Philip Seymour Hoffman was trying to be funny. And Bill Paxton, the late Bill Paxton, two of those, there's a couple of actors in that movie, and actresses that are not even living now. But Bill Paxton's girlfriend, I think it was Phoebe Cates that played her. Helen Hunt was his true love, but she didn't like him storm chasing. And Philip Seymour Hoffman was trying to describe to her what takes place in a tornado. And he said, this is what we call the suck zone. So when I saw that hook, Jay, I figured that we might be doing the McFiles Suck Zone special tonight, because this was headed right for me, brother. I ain't had one come right to me like this one. This was a little weird tonight. But I'm glad it didn't. It shifted south, but it just 5 miles, less than that. I mean, I probably could have gotten in my car and drove 5 miles south, and I'd have been right in it. 3 miles, really, not even that far. So that's how close it came. And so anyway, I'm grateful everybody's safe in here in the East Tennessee mountains. Barbara, good to see you tonight. Thank you for being with me. And we're safe, Shar. We're good. We're good here, in a good mood tonight. Good to see all our folks in Facebook tonight. And Renee, yep, I think it's headed your way. All you folks east of here, y'all are going to get it. And it is that time of the year and so forth. But we will be in, we're going to do some, we're trying to update you and all. Now, we had a news day. And with it being the late hour it is, I'm going to play a couple of videos. I'm going to do most of this tomorrow night. It'll be just me tomorrow night. We'll have a Friday night wrap-up show, and we've got a ton of video that we're going to show. We're going to try to play some comical stuff, sort of make it a Friday night folly, Friday night funny night. It's hard right now with all this breaking news. I mean, we're supposed to have Dan Glow back tonight. Dan texted me. He had to work tonight, and something came up at the last minute, so it was just going to be me anyway. And we are today was the National Day of Prayer, the National Prayer Breakfast, and I want to play some clips from that tomorrow night from President Trump. I'm going to summarize some of the things that he said tonight and tell you that I was never more proud that Donald John Trump is our president than I was this morning when I sat and watched that speech that he gave. I watched it right before the Bible study this morning, and I shared a little bit with them what I saw this morning from that podium was several things. One of the things that I saw was a man that has changed. There was a humility about him that was far different than anything I really had ever seen in him in his first term. And I'm not saying I disliked him in his first term. I love President Trump in his first term. I think we had been waiting for somebody to stand up to this elite and this swamp, and he did the best he could. I think it overwhelmed him the first time. He was not aware of how dirty Washington was. He was not aware of the betrayal that comes with picking swamp creatures in your cabinet. He was just not ready for what was about to hit him, and they paralyzed him a great deal for the first couple of years with the Russian hoax. They impeached him twice, tried to do it 3 times. He had betrayal coming from his own party. Paul Ryan did nothing but sabotage him. John McCain did nothing but sabotage him. Mitt Romney did nothing but sabotage him. Mitt Romney even voted with the Democrats to impeach him. And, you know, these losers, these worthless politicians, we are so sick. And then the church turned on him. A lot of these big-name church leaders, Beth Moore, Max Lucado, and you say, well, they're not church leaders. They're voices out there. I don't consider them church leaders either, but to the world, the John Q. world out there, they are. And even within the mainline structure of some of these people that did support him, at least by name, when the crunch came, they fled. They just ran from him. They wouldn't even stand with him during all this time of J6, and it was a nightmare there at the end. And he really took one for the team in that first term. Trump, I know at times probably didn't help himself at times with some of his statements. He had some very, very poor people in his ear telling him things. The spiritual advisory board was a joke back then. I'm not saying it's not a joke tonight, but I'm just saying there's a difference in him. It's different. And I'm explaining this. We lost this 2020 situation. I know that some of you don't believe that was actually true, and I'm going to just say it like this. I don't think that he lost it either. But in retrospect, it's a good thing what happened. Had he come into 2020 with the same situations and the same dynamics of that first term, President Trump could not be doing what he's doing tonight. And I think that the events of July 13th of last year not only changed him politically, but it changed him as a man. And I watched him this morning give God the credit for saving his life. And he basically was making some jokes. He said the bullet didn't even damage his hair. He said it liked to damage the skin. But he said, I'm just grateful it didn't damage my hair. And the people laughed at that, and I was laughing with him. And he was trying to bring some levity to a very serious situation. They tried to kill him twice. But he gave God the credit, and he was describing that moment when he looked to the right, and there was a billboard or a poster that somebody had brought to the rally for him to read some figures off of about illegal immigration. And had he not turned his head in that moment, when that bullet swift by his head and got his ear, President Trump would have been dead. President Trump would have been dead. And I think the touching thing of what he said this morning was Don Jr. He said both Don Jr. and Eric, he went to Don Jr. after all this, a few months after this, and he said, your daddy like to got killed. And Don Jr. looked at him, and I'll just say this about Don Jr., and this is just Chris's take on Don Jr. I love the whole family. There's an arrogance to Don Jr. that turns a lot of people off, and Don Jr. is Don Jr. And look, the Trump family is the Trump family, folks. We've all got families, and everybody. I've got two brothers and a half sister. Our personalities are different, and we're just family. I'll tell you what, we can get behind closed doors, and we as family, we can yell and scream at each other and tell each other how we feel about it, but we're hugging necks and loving each other. But I will tell you one thing, when we leave that door, if somebody attacks my brother or attacks my family, all hell's coming down on their head for me, because we're just family, and we don't betray one another when the chips are down. You can say what you want to about me, but leave my family out of your filthy mouth. Because if you want to see the Mac Man turn into the Mac Bear, you just go after my family. You say stuff about me all you want to, because I'm fair game. You better leave my family alone. And Don Jr. strikes me as somebody that people have taken a lot of shots. The media has been very unfair to Trump's family. They have written some of the most hideous hit pieces against Jr., Eric, Laura. They've sort of left Tiffany alone. You don't hear too much about her. Barron, they're beginning to sort of take their little pot shots at him because he's getting to be a man. And Melania has been brutalized in the press, just absolutely brutalized in the press. So when he mentioned his family this morning, it touched me, because he said that when he was talking to Don and Eric, he said, boys, he said, you like you lost your father. He said they both looked at him and they said, we know, Dad. And Don Jr., who's not the most spiritual of the boys, he looked at his father and he said, Dad, he said, I know why you're alive. And President Trump said, why is that? And Don Jr. looked up to the heavens and he said, there was someone looking out for you. And President Trump relayed the story this morning that this event has changed Don Jr. and he has gotten closer to God. Now, it doesn't mean that, he's, I guess, a raging Christian as we try to define that, and we need to be careful about that, because our definition sometimes is not God's definition. And we better be careful how we judge other people's lives. We better take care of our own mess. But it was touching, and I listened to this morning, and President Trump gave God the credit, full credit, for saving his life. And he said, I know that when I came into this office that I would not be, it just would not be wise for me not to recognize that I'm here strictly because of God's grace, and because, I'm just paraphrasing. And he gave the Lord the credit fully for saving his life and putting him in this office. And he said, if people out there had their way, I wouldn't even be here. And another thing the boys told him, Eric told him this, he said, Dad, he said, that rifle that was used in that assassination attempt, he said, the only way I can describe how close that was to you with the scope, because these boys know they hunt. This was a hunting rifle that was used to try to kill him. And they said, it's like taking a 1-foot putt. That's how easy a shot that kid had at you. And it shook President Trump up pretty good. And he's changed. He's changed. And it's a good change. The other thing that he said this morning that I was so proud of him, he told those gathered, he said, if this nation does not come back to God, he said, this nation's in such a mess right now. He said, we as a people have got to come back to God. And now, he used the term religion. He said, I don't understand how people can be happy without religion in their life. And I would tend to say that term religion is not the term I would have used. I think faith would have been better served, but that's President Trump's word, and I get why he said it. But faith is what makes people happy. And you can notice the crowd. And Amy Klobuchar was sitting on that front row. Her husband clapped at that. She didn't. And these godless Dems don't want faith to be on this landscape. We got a president tonight that does. And he made the promise to the church tonight. He made the promise to the church this morning. He said, I will tell you that during these next 4 years, that faith will be protected. He called it religion, but he was really saying that the faith of Christians, he said, we are going to protect that which is right in this country. And he didn't just say it with words. He went out today and he signed an executive order that protects women and girls from having to compete in sports with transgenders. We're going to deal with this more tomorrow night. We got some video to show you of that. Again, it's late. I'm going to get your thoughts here. It's already midnight. And so I don't have all this really queued up like I wanted to, but with the storms and the lateness of the hour, I'm just giving it to you in bullet point, and then we'll deal with the substance tomorrow night on our wrap-up show. But he put his money where his mouth is. And Carolyn Lovett today, don't you just love our press secretary? I mean, I'm telling you folks, I've seen a lot of them come and go through the years, as many of you have too. We got the best press secretary we've ever had in the White House. And this godless media was trying to trap her today about this executive order. And they said, well, are y'all concerned that this was discriminatory against the transgender community? Carolyn Levitt answered them exactly how Chris would have answered them. She just did it nicer than what I would have told that stupid reporter. And folks, let me tell you something. We're not here to bash transgenders. This has nothing to do with discrimination, has nothing to do with gender, has nothing to do with whatever. It's just plain common sense that men need to be competing in men's sports and women should be competing in women's sports, and a woman should not be fearing for her life when you've got a male with superior muscular ability that he gets in there and if you can just let me be blunt on this late night Thursday now to Friday, he's whacked his male part off to become a woman, but he's still a man. But he can't compete in men's sports because he's probably can't even get 16th place, so he goes to the women's side so he can win these gold medals. Common sense would tell you that's just plain perverse and wrong. And Carolyn Levitt answered the question, and I thought, my God, we got somebody with some common sense behind that podium. She said, we've made it clear from the beginning there ain't but two genders, male and female. What a breath of fresh air. What a breath of fresh air. I think it's time for Sherlock.
Elementary, my dear Watson.
That is elementary, my dear Watson. So President Trump put his mouth where his money is. Money where his mouth is. You got Letitia James out there tonight. Let me tell you how godless this Democrat Party is. This Democrat machine. It's a machine that's on life support tonight. Because I believe the Lord's tearing it to pieces. I think the Lord is allowing this stuff to happen. The Democrat Party, if they continue to do what they're doing, and we're going to play video of these crazy Dems that were in front of the Treasury Department. We ain't even got to the U.S. aid stuff tonight. I wish I had time to show you the stupidity. Do you realize, folks, we had spent $10 billion? Are you ready for this one? You know that USAID organization had spent $10 billion on. Nancy Mace talked about it tonight. They were studying transgender rats. They were trying to figure out if rats and mice could be transgender. That was your taxpayer money. $10 billion. I'm just curious what could have that been used for in North Carolina. I just wonder what that could have been used for right now in California tonight. I'm just asking for a friend. I wonder what kind of money that would go to help this country get off of take its debt down. And see, this is why they're scared of Elon Musk. Elon Musk is revealing their little party. He's revealing their little political scheme and their cash hut and their little we used to have, when we were in business, I was in a bank one time and we had something called a discretionary cash fund that the president of the bank could use at his discretion to use whatever he needed to for personal things because the bank gave him that privilege as the president. Well, the Congress has had their own little discretionary cash fund for years, probably for 40 years, spending it on junk and crap just like I just described tonight. And we've got all these stories on the gate in our McFiles War Room. And that's just the tip of the iceberg, folks. I could tell you other things. We were financing Sesame Street in Iraq to the tune of 10, 15, 20, $30 billion trying to get the Iraqis to understand the concepts of Sesame Street. I think that was our enemies back in 2003, were they not, in 1991, and they have basically sided with Iran in their attacks on Israel, but yet we're trying to teach them Sesame Street. That's how stupid these politicians are, and this is how godless this party gets. Well, enter Letitia James, and President Trump is doing all of this things to protect the integrity of women, and you know, it's funny to me, all these feminists out there that have decried women's equality, you know, that women have got to be equal with men. And now you have a president in power that is protecting the equality of women and protecting the dignity of women, unlike any president has. And you would think that the whole country would be excited about that. You would think the whole country would look at that and say, you know, that's just common sense. We don't need men killing women in sports, because there's been women that's been injured in some of these sporting events competing against men. As folks, as they should be. A woman is not as strong as a man. Now, you ladies, don't get your little feathers in a wad, and you feminists out there, get your little Nazi teeth grinding. That's just the facts of life. That's how God created you. Take it up with the Creator, not me. Take it up with the Creator. You're the weaker vessel. That's how it's always been ordained. It was ordained that way in the Garden of Eden. The woman was to submit herself to the man. I know that just drives these feminazis crazy. It just drives these little women libbers crazy. The woman is liberated. Let me tell you something, folks. You had a president today that liberated women. He liberated them from the fear of death. Country should be grateful for it. The left is losing their mind tonight because the left wants to convince you that there ain't two genders. They want you to continue to believe there's 85. Let me state it emphatically how we stand on that. It's as simple as the nose on my face and the hat on my head. There are two genders. And men need to be men and play with men and play in sports with their own gender. And women should be free to have their competition with their own kind. Women!
Elementary, my dear Watson.
Elementary, my dear Watson. It's elementary, my dear Watson. I don't know what part of that we don't understand. I don't understand what part of this godless Democrat Party. Letitia James is telling the hospitals. Another thing President Trump did this week that made me proud, and he even talked about this morning. He protected, and he made an executive order that made it illegal to mutilate children with this gender ideology. We're going to get January Smith Littlejohn on here soon, if I can get her to come. She's gotten busy on me. But we're going to try to get her on to talk about this, because she went through this battle with her own daughter. And I know she's ecstatic right now because President Trump is stopping this very thing. He's basically made it illegal with his executive order for you to mutilate a child's sexual organs for the sake of trying to convince them they're another gender. Well, Miss Letitia James, and I would use a term for her I can't not use even in this late hour of this show. But anyway, she's told the hospitals in New York, don't listen to that order. You go right ahead. I'll protect you as the Attorney General of New York. I'll make sure that you're not prosecuted. Well, if I was the Trump DOJ, and I got some things to say about Pam Bondi tomorrow night, I want to tip my hat to Miss Bondi. Miss Bondi is a very, very pretty lady. She's a very smart lady. And I'm tickled pink that she's our new DOJ head or Attorney General. By the way, I know that some of you heard they've delayed Kash Patel's hearing for a week. Dems, you can delay it, but you can't stop it. You can delay it all you want to. Hell is coming, and Kash is coming with it. And you better pucker up. You better pucker up. Because all of your party is a pile of turd, and it's sitting in a toilet right now. And I got a feeling that when Kash Patel gets in there and starts cleaning out the FBI, and Pam Bondi cleans out the Department of Justice, and Trump is cleaning out the federal government tonight, Elon Musk is cutting the pork, I feel a big old-fashioned Washington, as Eric said, colonoscopy flush coming on. And your backsides are puckering up. You better pucker up really good. You better feel it. Because it's coming. You can delay it, but you ain't going to stop it. You ain't going to stop it. That's why they're scared of Kash. That's why they're scared of Elon. That's why they're scared of Pam Bondi. That's why they're scared of Donald John Trump. That's why they're scared of everybody that Trump's got coming. because hell is coming to this left-wing woke ideology that has done nothing but take America into the oblivious hell on earth. It is going to stop. It is already stopping, and the left don't know what they're doing and how to stop it.
Mention, my dear Watson.
The only thing they've got are a few judges that have got no character. By the way, I do want to show you one thing. Some of this hiring situation, Trump was firing all these people as he should have today, and they were given till tonight at midnight, I think, to accept the buyout. But this wonderful piece of humanity right here, and I say that loosely, this is the judge right here, this liberal judge, Judge Colleen Kohler-Cotley. Even the name sounds hideous. She mocked Paulette Harlow, who was the grandmother that was praying in front of an abortion clinic, sent her to jail and mocked her faith. And when she was telling the judge that she was scared for her life in prison, this woman was 78 years old, in her 80s, I think, 70s, 80s. This piece of, you know what, told her, said, well, you should try to stay alive, I guess, in prison. Well, she blocked the DOJ or DOGE from being able to access the records in the Treasury Department to do their job temporarily. I know it'll be appealed, and see, that's the thing. A lot of these things can be appealed, but the process is going to delay. That the Dems are trying to play their games. And there are voices out there tonight, moderate voices, that are beginning to catch on to the fact that the Dems are committing suicide. Axelrod, there's others. I saw Doug Schoen on Fox the other night. He was, this morning actually, he was talking to Ansler yesterday. And Doug Schoen has been a Democrat for his whole life. He was Bill Clinton's political advisor back in the 90s. And he told Ansler point blank, he said, I'm not sure I can be a Democrat no more. And he said, I've never seen a party that has gone so far out of touch that they don't care if it destroys themselves. And they don't. They better start. This lady needs to be impeached herself. This lady needs to be impeached. They need to be impeached. And so forth. And so forth. Anyway. Alrighty, well, we got a pretty decent crowd this late hour. Speaking of Al Green, we're going to play a video. Al Green got his backside handed to him on air today. He was trying to convince the world that Trump needed to be impeached, and a caller called in. We got that on video for you tomorrow night. I got to show you one thing. This was special. Bibi Netanyahu basically was given the key. This is a key to the White House, to our hearts and to our country, as a token of appreciation for your leadership. Well, as a reciprocal thing, Bibi, and I've got that picture somewhere. What did I do with it? Give me 1 second here, and then we're going to take your questions. I wish we had more time tonight, but we don't. As a recipient gift, Bibi gave President Trump something that I found hilariously funny, and I want one of these. I want one of these. He gave President Trump, this is how Cleo sent this to me, Sky News Australia, a newly released photo has shown the golden pager Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu gifted President Trump in reference to those used in a targeted attack to take out Hezbollah terrorists. Press with both hands. Boom! Boom! Way to go. And let me tell you something, folks. You know what this Democrat Party reminds me of? It reminds me of the Willie E. Coyote. It reminds me of the Willie E. Coyote movies and the Roadrunner. Willie Coyote would always strap bombs on himself and think, I want to get that coyote. or get that Roadrunner. And the only one that was blowed up and got boomed was the Coyote. This is priceless. This is priceless. Both gifts are prophetic. I want me one of those pagers. I'm going to see if I can get one. But press here with both hands. Yep, they did. It was the most ingenious thing I've ever seen in my life. And more of that's coming. Folks, there's a change in the wind. There's a change in the wind. And if these Dems want to keep playing their games, let them play them. I wouldn't lose any sleep over it. I just think it's funny. I think it's hilarious to watch these Dems implode and act like a bunch of apes. That scene from the Department of Treasury Tuesday was something out of an Exorcist movie. I mean, it was literally like watching a bunch of demons. I'm not joking. All of them. The things they were saying, and they're screaming about, again, the money. They don't want you to find out what they've been spending your money on for years. This thing with transgenderism, they're screaming up and down that is bad, that Trump's doing that. And I heard Scott Jenkins on CNN say something, and he's right. 80% of the country, folks, is with Trump on these things. 80% of the country knows that this government has been out of control for 50 years spending. And if we don't stop spending, we're going to be insolvent. What I've understood that just, in 3 weeks, we've had nearly $2 trillion worth of debt cut by Elon Musk. They're scared of Elon. Whenever the left is scared of somebody, you can be sure that person is getting to the bottom of their playground. That's why they're scared of cash. They're scared of Pam Bondi. Pam Bondi, I salute her. We're going to tell you what she's done just in 2 days. She went after these illegal sanctuary cities today. I heard tonight she's opening a review of those cases by Alvin Bragg and Letitia James and Jack Smith and other lawfare, the judge down in Florida. That did all of his crap. Hell is coming. Hell is coming. It's going to be a golden pager movement. Trump talked about the golden age. I've got a better term. It's going to be the golden pager. Because the Dems are literally phoning in stuff that's going to blow up in their face. They don't see it. And who am I to tell them to stop? You guys keep doing it. Keep doing it. It's fun to watch you implode. It's fun to watch you implode. I'm just saying.
Elementary, my dear Watson.
It's elementary, my dear Watson. Okay. I've got other things to talk about. But I don't know if I got time. Let me see here. I do a couple of other quick things that happened today that we're going to really hammer on tomorrow. Did you hear what happened in Colorado today? And you talking about a godless party. We got a godless media. Tom Homan, out of respect for the media and just trying to be nice, learned a hard lesson that I've had to learn. I've had to learn some hard lessons, trying to be kind to people and have them turn on you and screw you where the sun don't shine. And Tom Homan was just trying to be kind. He brought the media with him on a raid to let them see that we were handling the deportation of illegals in a humane manner. Well, what does the media do? Evidently, somebody in the media pool, Lawrence Jenkins, the guy from Fox, was talking about this morning. Some of those media people tipped off activists that's what they were doing. They were going to Colorado, Lawrence Jones. And the activists showed up at the same time this morning, and they would follow the ICE agents to these apartments, these Trey DeArga terrorists that have been linked to some of the most hideous crimes in this country ever, taking over these apartment complexes. And they would stand out there and scream to the illegals, "This is not a real warrant. Don't come to your door. You don't have to be subject to this. You can stay in your house and be protected." And it delayed. In fact, they had to cancel the whole raid day because of these jackanapes. Tom Holman announced tonight, and Pam Bondi did, they're going to find those who leaked that crap. Their asses are going to be in jail. Their asses should be in jail. And they should be revoked. And Trump tonight, there's a story, I'm going to talk about it tomorrow. He's not happy about it. President Trump has made some moves tonight as it relates to the media. And it's a long time coming. And I'm going to warn the media tonight, you're about to destroy yourself. You keep doing this crap, and nobody's listening to you anyway. But you're going to find yourself not just with your press credentials revoked, you're going to find yourself with your liberty revoked. Because what you did was illegal. What you did harmed this country. And it's time, when we're flushing toilets, to put the media in that same toilet. And I'm not saying Fox is perfect, but I think Fox has seen the light about the mood of the country and the tone of the country. There's a few voices on Fox. I have to close my ears and eyes when they come on, and I don't want to get into that. But that network, I've seen a change in them since the election, a little bit. I don't trust them, but they're about the only source. There's at least, I'd say, 70-30 that you can listen to on Fox, where it was probably 60-40, 50-50, or 40-60 before the election. They've cleaned their house. Neil Cavuto's gone. Andrea Mitchell, by the way, that liberal voice on MSNBC that didn't have a brain, she's gone. Greenspan's wife. Jim Acosta's podcasting from his basement. Chuck Todd's out. Don Lemon is having sex with his gay lover in his pool. He's out. Yeah, I know that was ugly. I shouldn't have said that. I'm sorry. I apologize. I'm sorry, Sherlock. I'm sorry.
Elementary, my dear Watson.
My dear Watson. Anyway, I must digress. Where was I at? The media. You keep doing this crap, you're not going to have any credentials. Because American people are tired of it. And you hurt lives today. You put people in danger, what you did today. And when you start doing that, you're going to pay a price for it. That ain't going to be too good. All right. I got so much more to talk about. I got so much to talk about. If you got a question, and folks, let me just say this about Al Green. I'm just going to say this to y'all. Nobody's taking Al Green seriously. Don't lose any sleep over it. Don't lose any sleep over this impeachment talk. That is the least of my worries tonight. I almost laughed when I heard Al Green. Al Green would impeach a coconut. I mean, if Al Green sit there and went to Wendy's and his Frosty was vanilla instead of chocolate, he tried to impeach Wendy's. This racism and all this Crockett girl, the one, I don't know what state she's from. I think she's from Florida. I don't know where she's from. Look, all I've got to say to the public, the people that are voting these people in, you need to take a good hard look. And I heard somebody make a statement tonight about AOC. Have you noticed that AOC never talks about her own district when she's talking to the media? You people in New York, you need some psychological help to hire a bartender to go to Washington and represent you. You need to ask yourself a simple question. When's the last time that she's got on the television screen and even in Congress and fought for your district that she represents? Have you stopped and asked that question? All she does is call the country racist, bigots, homophobes, and fascists and everything else. She called Elon Musk a dumb individual, a dumb billionaire. Wow. I mean, you're a bartender, AOC. You can't put 2 and 2 together. If I was to ask you what 2 and 3 are, you'd say you wouldn't even be able to tell me what they were. But you can call everybody dumb. You're a bartender. But I'm not even upset with AOC. What I'm asking is, who in the hell and what in the hell are you people in New York thinking putting a bartender up in Congress representing you? What are you people thinking about Ariana Presley? who's a rabid racist. Ilhan Omar. We're going to talk about her tomorrow night. She needs to be in jail. You talking about insurrection? You've got haters of the U.S. Constitution representing the country. Now, Chris is warming you up because we're going to be on KSR Radio here, hopefully in the next few weeks, with the Mac Report News Hour. And I'm going to get to do this without the help of a camera. I'm going to get behind a microphone and let it all hang out for an hour and say what I want to say. Because it won't be on YouTube. It'll be on the K-Star Radio Network, and that's coming in a few weeks with our news hour. All righty. I think I've said my piece for tonight. I could say a lot more. We will deal with this tomorrow night. It's going to be a good Friday night. You need to join us. You need to join us. You need to join us. Texas. All right, if you got a question, Mark McIntosh, I hear Cash and Bondi is working on releasing the Epstein list. I heard that tonight, and that is correct. Marsha Blackburn confirmed that, Mark. Marsha Blackburn confirmed that. She did. She sure did. Very, very true. And she should. It's long overdue. Anyway, Heidi Rodriguez. It's both sides, not just the left. Republicans had the House for 2 years, and they had to know what was happening. Heidi, I tend to agree with that, but it has to do with leadership. We had McCartney, and I don't blame all the Republicans for that. I'm not going to disagree with your sentiment. The Republicans share some responsibility in where the country's at. But I think there's a change in the wind there, too. I think they've seen the light. I think these Republicans realize, and look, if it wouldn't have been for J.D. Vance and Trump pressuring them, RFK wouldn't have made it out of committee. Tulsi Gabbard wouldn't have made it out of committee. And I think these Republicans are seeing the light that this is the time that you better get in line with what President Trump's doing, because the American people have given him this mandate. And that's another thing he said this morning. Look, it's different. Folks, do you realize that, I want you to hear this figure, the feeling of the country's going in the right direction increased 49% in just 2.5 weeks. He said this morning, that's the largest spike in that poll that we've ever had. 49% in those 3 weeks. When people said, do you feel good about the way the country's going now? That's incredible. It's incredible. So if the Republicans want to keep fighting him, let him fight. Bye-bye. Folks, I'm just telling you, I just feel a change in the air. I felt it in D.C. when I was up there 2 weeks ago. It's a good change. It's coming. And hell is coming to these that stand in the way of this. And look, I'm not saying that President Trump needs a carte blanche check to do whatever he wants without the check on his power. That's what makes our government function. We have an executive branch, a judicial branch, and we have a legislative branch. If it was a normal world and all parties were working for the betterment of the people, then we would have a functioning government. But what you've got is you've got people that don't want the government to function properly. You want them to control people. And I hate to tell the you-know-what's up there, we're your boss. We're not your subjects. I don't know where in the blank you get this fact that you can tell us what to do. You can't. That's not your job. Anyway, Heidi, I agree with that to a degree, but I think there's a change. There's a change. And look, we got to move forward. I can't change what the Republicans did for 2 years, but we're going forward. We're going forward, not backwards. Yeah, I did too, Jenny. I love look, when the Dems are throwing a tantrum, when the Dems hate somebody, this is a principle of life. If the Dems are throwing a tantrum about it, you can be sure what they're throwing a tantrum about is good for the country. And when Chuck Schumer is crying his Schumer tears, and Trump told him to go to Gaza, Trump was saying, I'm going to own Gaza. We got so much to talk about tomorrow night. We're going to have a 3-hour McFile probably tomorrow night. Trump told Schumer today, said, I'm going to fix Gaza and own it just for you, Chucky, so you can go live there. Chuck didn't like that too much. I thought that was pretty funny. But anyway. Questions, folks. Questions. If you got questions. Please. It's time for questions, comments. Yes, Carol. Carol, your point is a wonderful point. You hope the executive orders can become law. I do. And that's the thing that's the only thing that tempers my enthusiasm, what's happened over the first 3 weeks. Because God forbid this country go back to the dark ages and put a Democrat back in power in 28. Everything Trump does that is shifting the country to the right direction, politically at least, and I would say spiritually in many ways. God was pleased. I know some of you ain't going to agree with this, and that's quite all right. Because Chris has learned not to lose any sleep over people that don't agree with what he says. It's okay. I'll still say it. God was pleased with him signing that order today about those girls. God's been pleased with his stance on Israel. God's been pleased with his stance on two genders. God's been pleased with the fact that Trump said it's illegal for you to cut a child's sexual organs off to transgender your youngin. We're going to put you in prison for you doing it. We're going to cut funding off. He's pleased with that. And I know some of you that think that it's just so heartless to do these bad things to these illegals. Let me tell you something. God's very pleased that Trump is shutting the border down and bringing the rule of law back to the country, because God's a God of law. God's a God of order. God's been pleased with what he's seen, I believe. I feel it in my heart. So the country's not just getting back on the right track politically, folks. These decisions that Trump has made over the first 3 weeks is the catalyst to get us back on the right track spiritually. My dear friend Stacy Shiflett, we're going to have Stacy on hopefully in a week or two. He texted me tonight and he made the statement to me. He said, Chris, he said, I have been waiting for this moment in our country's history all of my life to see the things I'm seeing go on right now. He said, I've literally waited my whole life to see some of the things that's happening with President Trump right now. And I couldn't agree more. There's a shaking in the wind. And I think these storms, this weather going crazy is just the devil. I think it's the whole forces of evil, forces of darkness that are just trying to fight, and the heavenlies are ablaze and the heavens are at war with each other. If you're on our morning Bible study, join us on the Faith Network, because we're going to be talking about this heavenly conflict over nations here in the next week or so. We'd love to have you on the faith side, the Faith Network. We got a Faith Network. The earth is shaking for a reason. This nation is, folks, we're in the balance. But we've got leaders over our country that are trying to hear from God and rule right. And we should be grateful for it. And there's a spiritual component to this. We got mercy in November. We got mercy in November, folks. I talked about it this morning on the Bible study. God granted us sovereign mercy. We better take advantage of it. All right, Carol, good point. It does. These executive orders will mean nothing in 4 years unless one or two things happen. They're encoded in law, or you elect another Republican. And I pray to God we do. But anyway. Anyway. Mary Cleveland, do you know if Elon is tracking the money from all the U.S. aid funds who got kickbacks? Mary, that's exactly what he's doing. That's how we found out about the U.S. aid schemes, is Elon Musk. That's why they hate his guts. And all this crap about, well, we didn't elect Elon Musk to run the country. You know what I want to tell these Dems when I hear that? It's a good question, Mary. And yes, he is getting to the bottom of it. That's why this judge blocked him from getting to the records of the Treasury. I would ask these Dems, is George Soros, was he elected when you were in power? Biden was having him at the White House every other day, his son. Just did we elect Fauci to run the country in the freaking ground and basically imprison the country over the COVID scheme and the COVID nonsense? To kill people? No. Was he elected? No. No. Was Bill Gates elected? No. Just asking for a friend. But Elon, he's the co-president. He needs to take his hands off our Constitution. No, what he is doing is exactly what Trump's hired him to do and put him over that department to do. And all it is just the Department of Government Efficiency and Accountability, folks. It's simply just an agency that Trump formed to get to the root, to clean out this bureaucracy pork and all of this misspending. And the things they have found, folks, when we get to the list, we're going to do a special. It's mind-blowing that this stuff was going out of our treasury without any check on it. That's why they hate him. And as I said, if the Dems hate somebody, rejoice. Rejoice. Because that means they're doing their job. And I know that there's people out there that they've got no better thing to do with their time than to be conspiracy theories, and I hate to use that word. They've got no better time than to try to be relevant on the internet. So they got to come up with Elon's the Antichrist, and Elon is the devil, and Elon is 666, and Elon is this, and Elon is that, and Elon is that. Well, I tell you what, keep running your blab, be blabbing your mouth. We ain't listening to you either. I think that's another thing that's happened. I think people are so sick and vomiting sick of these spiritual voices that are not saying anything. All they do is trash other people. They trash the government. They trash Trump. They trash Elon. They trash everybody around him. Everything Trump says is evil. Everything Trump says has got a symbol behind it. Or I think that we're vomiting sick of that too. I think we with common sense, Christians that are listening to God and listening to the Holy Spirit, I think we understand that there's something more at stake here than a symbol. And I think that we understand that Elon is, look, I don't go to church and listen to Elon Musk for my spiritual advice. I want him to cut this government into pieces. And I'm going to tell you this, what Trump's doing with these federal workers is exactly what needs to take place. Marco Rubio literally fired close to, I think, 200,000 in that U.S. aid department. We're going to get that figure for you tomorrow night. He basically did a mass firing tonight. He said the thing only needed 49 people running it. There were 250,000 people running the agency before he got there and took it over. Good for little Marco. Good for Marco. Good. Market did go for things that hurt. Jonathan, you must be my neighbor. He says, I wouldn't mind if Elon came down to Tennessee to clean things up once he's done at Doge. John, I agree with that. I think Bill Lee's done a pretty good job. I know that he's not perfect. He's not a perfect governor. I'm a big fan of Bill Lee. He's done a lot of good things for the state. I did not agree with a lot of his policies during the 2020 time. But a lot of these governors were put in no-win situations by the Biden administration. It was tough. It was a tough time. And I've given him a lot of grace about that. I don't think we can have done much better than him. I will agree with you, all states. Think about California, Jonathan. Elon needs to go to California. What could he do down there? What could he do in all these blue states? Folks, a lot of these blue states are going bankrupt. They're going bankrupt for this stuff. So it's imperative that we get our financial house in order. I think that would be pretty good, Jonathan. Pretty good. That'd be a pretty good thing. You go to all these states. Anyway, Barbara says we didn't elect Jill either, did we? No, we sure didn't. No, we sure didn't. Susan Pruski, that's why our national debt is so out of sight. Finally, our president is addressing this crisis. It is a crisis, Susan, and I'm glad you brought that up. I don't think people understand. You got $34 trillion, folks. Look, I'm 60 years old. My grandchildren, my great-great-grandchildren would never pay that back. That is an unpayable debt. If we don't cut that, and look, I'm all for Elon taking a blowtorch to this thing. I don't care who it is. I don't care if it's Barney. I don't care if it's Fred Flintstone at this point. I don't care who it is. Get in there and clean this crap out. Anyway, I'm just getting started. I'm going to get to the good stuff tomorrow night. But we're going to do it in a Friday night fun way. Like we always do. Hopefully we'll not have any major Armageddon news between now and tomorrow night. Or tonight. Later tonight. We're already 12:30. And I said I was going to quit, didn't I? How much time? We've been going an hour and 23. Got 7 minutes. I'll give you an hour and a half. I'm going to give you 7 minutes. Take any further comments. So many parasites, Jay. So little time. Very true. Lantern Keeper. What a name. Good to see you in the house tonight. Good to see you. Let's see what our folks over in Facebook are saying. And let's see here. Roger Hooker says the Democrat Party now has only a 30% approval rating. The corruption being exposed has taken its toll. Yep. Pat and Deb says all Musk is doing is performing an audit, the same as the IRS does to us. Oh, by the way, speaking of that, Pat and Deb, good to see y'all tonight. I posted something on my Facebook page. Folks, these same people that are upset, let me remind you about the Elon Musk cleaning house. They're the same people that wanted to hire 87,000 IRS agents to audit you. So let's not let that be lost in our thinking. It's very true. Roger, the Democrat Party, their approval rating is 30%, and if you think about it, that's the far left. That's about what we have in this country. That's the far left. That's the only group that supports this bunch. And I just got a feeling. I got a gut feeling. There's this party is going to go the way of the Whigs. They are absolutely going to go the way of the Whigs. You're going to see. It would not surprise me in 4 years that there is a new party emerging, and we're going to talk about what they were doing. We're not going to get to everything tomorrow night. It'll have to go into next week. Being the fact we almost had to do it from the suck zone tonight with the tornadoes around us. I'd have been on here earlier. We'd have been able to do some of it tonight and tomorrow night. Tomorrow night's going to be a full night. We may have to do an extended McFiles with all the stuff we got to go on. I'm not going to have any guests tomorrow night. I'm going to do it myself. 30%. That don't surprise me. That don't surprise me. Very well said. Anyway, Roger said, I was surprised to find out the billions given to church organizations to help illegal migrants come here and settle in America. Roger, that is absolutely true, including the Catholic charities. I was down at the border in 2020, actually 21. I was there twice. I was in 2019. I went back in 21. And at the beginning of the year, actually I went twice in 2019. The trip in August of 2019 wasn't a pleasant one, and the trip in 21 wasn't either. I got COVID when I got back. But I saw firsthand those Catholic charities. I saw it firsthand what they were doing. It was hideous. Still is. Tom Holman's going to put a stop to that. And that's why Elon, and folks, let me just put at ease something that's out there over the internet tonight. Elon does not have your social security number. Elon is not looking for your personal records. He's trying to look into government spending. He don't care that you go to Walmart or you go to whatever store you shop at, like the left is trying to claim he's doing, and he's a threat to democracy, and these idiot spiritual voices out there claiming he's the devil and the Antichrist. Again, I think we're all just sick of this stuff. I am. I don't know about y'all. I'm just sick of it all. I just want my country to come back to normal. And I really like what I've seen over the last 3 weeks. I really enjoy what I'm seeing. And I just say, keep it up, President Trump. We behind you. Don't leave no stone unturned and bring hell down on those trying to stop you. That's all I got.
Elementary, my dear Watson.
It's elementary, my dear Watson. It's elementary, my dear Watson. He's fighting the right battles. He's fighting the right battles. I was going to say something, but I forgot it. Anyway, Anyway. And folks, we please ask you not to put scriptures in the chat room. There's a reason for that. Zelle says our foreign policy is going radically to change soon because of ending U.S. aid and controls on the Treasury. That is absolutely right, Zella. It is going to be a change about our foreign policy because a lot of these governments. Look, I heard something tonight. There was $2.5–3 billion that they found that was written down, and it just said aid. They didn't even name the people that money went to, and the question was asked, well, why didn't you name where this money went to? And the fact of the matter is, the Bidens, there is no telling what dark forces and dark figures that money was going to. And I think it was Mark McIntosh, he said this money went out to countries and people that were going to hurt the country. And that's absolutely correct. So, yeah, it's going to affect our foreign policy. And look, I don't know about y'all. Look, I was never a big fan of Marco Rubio for a long time. I have changed my thinking on Marco Rubio. I think it was the absolute best choice for Secretary of State. And I think he's doing a heck of a job the first 3 weeks. He is kicking something and taking names himself. Pam Bondi's already on the ground doing it. I just can't wait for Cash Patel to get in there. It's going to be... Elaine Willard liked my term, the suck zone. Let me tell you, these Democrats. If you Democrats listen, where's Jeannie Castellano at? Jeannie, I'm going to make a meme and say this is the suck zone that's coming. This is the suck zone, boys. This is what's coming, Dems. It's elementary, my dear Watson. It's elementary, my dear Watson. They could label it under anything. They sure could. And sure, it is Catholic Charities and Catholic Relief Services, but let me tell you something. Another thing that money was going to was left-wing media outlets that were undermining the government and the country and President Trump and the conservatives and being very biased. Look, CBS had better get their checkbooks out. This thing with Kamala, I know it's passed, and people are. I've seen some of the comments. Well, it's passed. Why are we even talking about this 60 Minutes interview? Because it was political election interference. You see, the lie in 2020 and 2016 was that Russia interfered with our election. That was a complete hoax. There was absolutely no evidence Russia did that. We were told they did that by Hillary because she didn't get her hag way. But what Kamala did and 60 Minutes did was election interference. And it's worth looking at, and I put it like this, from what I'm hearing, is that CBS is already at the negotiating table with Trump and saying, we want to settle this. So it must have been something, because they don't want to pay $10 billion and they see what's coming. The jury is probably going to award that fee to Trump. And Trump can use that to buy Gaza with. Trump will be there to buy Gaza with. To buy Gaza with. Anyway, all righty. Couple of more things. And please, folks, when you post this stuff, keep it to a sentence, no paragraphs. Please, please, please. I ain't got time to read paragraphs. Put it to a sentence. Put it to a sentence. Roger Zelensky said Biden promised him 177, and he's only received $77 billion. I'm glad you said that, Roger. I saw that same interview. He was bemoaning that the Biden administration screwed him. Isn't that rich? Isn't that just rich? You deal with a crook, Vladimir. What do you think's going to happen? You're dealing with the Bidens, for God's sake, and you protected them. And Roger, as the old saying goes, I'm all broken up. Can't you see how broken up I am about the fact that the Biden administration screwed him out of $100 billion? Where's my meme when I need it?
Elementary, my dear Watson.
That's what we call the suck zone, Roger. I got a new term tonight. I've got a new term. Elaine Willard liked it. She was laughing about it. Anyway. Anyway. Glad to see everybody in the house tonight. Any other questions? Any questions? Jenny says, do you understand the words that are coming out of my mouth? Do you understand the words that are coming out of my mouth? You know, Jenny, I got to play that just for you. It wouldn't be a McFiles if I did that, right? This is my dumb foot.
Elementary, my dear Watson.
No, that's elementary, my dear Watson. I thought that was the one. Let me see if I can find it just for you, Jenny. I think this is it.
I used to think...
No, that's not it. I'll find it, Jenny, before the night's out. I'll have it back here tomorrow night. That's for sure. I'm sorry. I thought I had it. I was thinking I was going to have to hide in my closet tonight, Jenny, so I didn't really get prepared as I should have. Listen, I'm glad you hope you enjoyed the show, this late night show. We're into Friday. I'm just in a good mood. I could stay up all night with you guys, but I do have to get some rest. And Lord have mercy. Lord have mercy. Lord have mercy. Lord have mercy. It was captured by the Sug Zone, Chris. All that money. Exactly right, Elaine. That is exactly right. That is exactly right. Mark Kaysen, good to see you, my friend. Good to see you. Carol Smith is just what the drain into the swamp looks like. You better believe it. Mary, you says if Trump buys Gaza and develops it with taxpayer money, we should keep it. He's not going to use taxpayer money. That was something the left was crying about today. He's not going to use taxpayer money. He's going to make the Arabs pay for it. And if you don't, I believe Trump can do it. See, and they were trying to, the twit from CNN, Caitlin Collins, Lord forgive me. I'm trying to be so nice in 2025, and I am failing so bad. The reporter, the main reporter from CNN, she tried to make light of the Gaza thing with him 2 days ago, and Carolyn Levitt set her straight. She said, there's not going to be any taxpayer money for Gaza. No, what Trump is proposing, Mary, is what I think should have been done all along. These Arab countries have got trillions of dollars in oil revenue. They've got so much. Look at a map of the Middle East. They got land for these Palestinians. They got more room than Israel's got. Make the Arabs pay for it. Because what Trump is really saying, and we've talked about this in our morning studies, and we've talked about it on this show, folks, it's prophetic. He's going to turn Gaza back over to the Israelis. Can I tell you a little fact about history? Do you realize that land that we call Israel tonight, and it's really not the full land grant that God's going to give Israel. It's just a sort of a portion. But if Israel had that whole land that you see without the West Bank and the Gaza cutouts of it, do you realize that was swamp land right after in the late 1800s before Israel occupied it? The Palestinians owned that land. The Palestinians inhabited, and they were so poor stewards of that land. It was swamp. It was literally nothing but farmland and weeds, and nothing grew there. Nothing. The day that Israel reformed as a nation, they made that their part has flourished since 1948, and the whole region has brimmed with blessing. I wonder why. Perhaps of Genesis 12:3. Maybe the blessing of Abraham is on the Jewish people. Go figure. Go figure, Stu. Go figure, Candace. Go figure, Piers Morgan. We'll talk about Piers tomorrow night. Go figure, Tucker Carlson. Not my nephew. Tucker Carlson. Go figure. Israel's blessed. Israel's blessed.
Elementary, my dear Watson.
It's elementary, my dear Watson. But you turn it over to the Palestinians, it went to you know what. What Trump's trying to do, Mary, he's telling the Arab world, I got a deal for you. You want peace? Take the Palestinians. Sell me Gaza. You pay for it. I'll give it back to Israel. And you, because I'm going to tell you something. I believe the Arab world, these modern Arab countries, this is just an opinion, I think they're sick of the war too. And I know there's a spiritual component to this I don't want to get into right now. But politically, I think Jordan and Egypt and even Saudi Arabia to a degree, they see what's happened. And they trust Trump. He's a businessman. And I think they're willing to say, we'll put up money. And his tweet today was, it will be a great place for Chucky Schumer to relocate. He took a shot at Chucky Boy. I'm just in a good mood tonight. I'm just in a good mood tonight. How about that? How about that, Jenny is right. How about that? Roger, it may get worse before it gets better, but that's all right. I'm going to give you a little bit of advice out there, folks. Get you some popcorn. Get you some popcorn. And just sit back and enjoy the show. Because this is a real movie. This is the movie the Q people were telling us about. I like this movie. Because it involves we the people. It involves we the people. It involves we the people and not this stupid stuff they were pushing 8 years ago. 6 years ago. No, this is real time America coming back. This ain't a movie. This is reality. And sober people deal in reality. I'll amen myself. Jeannie, I'll find my famous... man, I wished I could have downloaded. I would be... As I said, I was getting prepared to get my backside blown to smithereens earlier tonight, so I apologize for that. But we will be back with some funny stuff tomorrow night. We will be back with some funny stuff tomorrow night. Did you enjoy the show tonight? Say, put some fire in that house if you did. I got to show you one funny one. I know you heard about Beyonce. There's one executive order I don't think you've heard about, but it's been breaking tonight that President Trump has signed an executive order that reversed Beyonce's Grammy win for the best country album. I'll just leave it at that. Viva la Trump. If you enjoy the show, put some fire in that house. I'll see you back here in the morning on the face side. It's good to see some folks we hadn't seen in a long time. Mark Casey, it's so good to see you tonight. God bless you, friend. And our friends from Sevierville, glad you're okay tonight in this bad weather we've had in the hills, and others. And hope you enjoyed the show. The opinions here are mine. The thoughts are mine. And McFilesForum@gmail.com if you have comments about what we've said. And we appreciate you being with us on a McFiles Thursday night into Friday morning. And we'll be back here in the morning and back here tomorrow night. Whew. We just get into the good stuff. It's coming. Have a good night, everybody. Be blessed out there, truly. And we'll be talking about some new shows coming and some new things coming to the network in the next few weeks. May the Lord bless you out there. Our prayers for the people of East Tennessee, you Morgan County folks. Hope everything's good over there. Batten down the hatches in North Carolina tonight and points east. Have a good night, everybody.